Welcome, boys and girls. We are looking at day 2. We're looking at the thinking map and a short constructed response asking about Cammy's character. So for our writing prompts, this is the writing prompt that you were given. What changed for Cammy after the boat stopped at Santarém? What stayed the same? So in this case, we're going to be looking through this information and we're going to find the important things that they're asking for. So I'm going to have you go ahead and pause this video really quick so you can find those for yourself. Okay, so hopefully you have paused this video. Again, I'm going on this honor system, making sure that you guys are doing the work, most of the work, before I give you the answers, because I want to make sure that this goes through pretty smoothly and you guys don't feel super lost when you go through this video. So this is some of the important things that I found. They're asking us to compare and contrast. So we're going to look at Cammy as a character, and we're going to compare and contrast her from the beginning of the story to the end of the story. And again, if you haven't read the story, then you're not going to get very much out of this video. At the beginning of the story, Cammy is complaining. She's saying that she's bored. Remember that she was talking about eating the same fish that for the past 3 days. And I mean, if that's not a huge complaint about nothing, I don't know what is. The other thing is, at the end of the story, Cammy starts to enjoy the Amazon. She learns a lot from the family. Again, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you need to go and read. So, here's the thinking map. The thinking map that compares Cammy before the boat stops over here. So this is very specific to before the boat stops. And I'm going to fill in 2 of these ideas, but you're going to have to be responsible for the last one. And then after the boat stops, we're going to be looking at these specific ideas, but again, I'm leaving that 3rd one blank for you to fill out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at Cammy as a character in the middle, so that way we can see what kind of character traits she kind of still has, or kind of still remains the same, or things about Cammy that still remain the same. So, the first thing that we look at is, before the boat stops, she doesn't even enjoy the Amazon. She's complaining. We already talked about her complaining. She doesn't want to learn Portuguese, which is the language of the Amazonians, or the language that most Amazonians, there we go, speak. So she's bored. She doesn't enjoy her trip. She doesn't want to learn a new language. After the boat stops, she makes a friend, Gabriella, who we're going to talk about in a little bit more. And she learns about the canoe people, which sound really interesting. And again, if you have not read this, it's not going to make very much sense to you. Some things that remain the same: she's still on the boat, and she still travels with her family. So, like I said, we're going to go back and look at this big concept, this making a friend Gabriella, because it seems to have the biggest impact on her. So, here we go. Here's our short constructed response. So, this is the way that we have put it together. We have constructed it, so that way you have an idea of what each of these things are supposed to be. But again, it's more than just the colors. It's more than just the titles. These have significance in your writing. If we look at our claim cannot be as simple as she changed when blank. It has to be a little bit more. So, in this case, I have come up with a claim because I'm going to be answering my question with her friend. So, my claim is, Cammy makes a friend who changes her attitude about being stuck in the Amazon. So my first example is going to be, before meeting Gabriella, Cammy was described as blank. She was described as a typical teenager. She was described as bored. You can keep it as one word if you want to. It's totally fine. But you want to make sure that it's a little bit more than that. Before meeting Gabriella, Cammy was described as being bored by her food, or complaining about every little thing. Ooh, you could even say that she's being nitpicky, which is totally fine. All right, evidence number 1. according to page blank, it says blank. So now your job is going to go and find that evidence that helps support your idea. If she's being described as complaining a lot, then find the one where it's like the most important complaint or the biggest complaint that she has. So that way you have that evidence to explain how she's being, how she's complaining or how she is being bored. This quote shows that Cammy blank. So this quote shows that Cammy is more than happy to make complaints about something because she isn't enjoying her trip or isn't having fun. Example 2. This one, in this case, because we're talking about her meeting a friend who changes her attitude, we're going to say, okay, so before all of this happened, this is how she's being described as, and now we're moving on to how she's changed. Cammy's attitude changes when, and you can keep it as simple as Cammy's attitude changes when she meets Gabriella and her family, or when she meets Gabriella. But I want to push you a little bit. Give me a reason, or give me an example as to how she really changes. Cammy's attitude changes from bored to excited when she meets Gabriella, or when she experiences something new. So that you're going to have to kind of figure out a little bit more, but don't just say, oh, when she experiences something new. You have to be a little bit more specific. Tell me what that experience is. So going into evidence number 2, kind of the same as evidence number 1, but it's going to be on a different page. It's going to be a different quote because you're not going to be able to find a quote that explains both of these things at the same time. Especially because at the beginning of the story, she should be described as something else, or the evidence should be describing something else. How she's being described as bored. When, in this case, you're going to have to find something on a different page that help us figure out how Cammy's attitude changes, because there is a huge shift, and you have to be able to find that. This quote shows that blank. Again, you're going to have to explain to us, and this one is the hardest. It is the hardest to try and teach, but at the same time, if you do it really well, then it'll be an outstanding paragraph. So this quote shows blank. If you want to keep it as this quote shows, if you want to change it to this quote helps me realize, this quote shows Cammy's attitude changing, or whatever it is. So that way you can explain how this evidence supports your example and how this ultimately all supports the idea that when Cammy makes this friend, or when Cammy finds this person, it actually changes her attitude so that she doesn't feel like she's stuck somewhere. Okay. So conclusion statement. In conclusion, or as you can see, Cammy was no longer blank when she met Gabriella because really long blank. Now you can keep it the same as your claim. In conclusion, Cammy was no longer felt like she was stuck in the Amazon when she met Gabriella because she helps change her attitude. You could keep it like that. I don't think that sounds super effective to me. But again, you can change this to a little bit to make sure that you get this idea that she doesn't feel like she's being stuck. So in conclusion, Cammy was no longer feeling bored, or Cammy was no longer sad about being in the Amazon when she met Gabriella and her family because, and you can give me a slightly different idea. You can give me a something where it doesn't sound necessarily like that she's stuck in the Amazon, but keeping that idea in mind. One of the things that could also be brought up is, even though she's still on that same boat, she's gained a bigger appreciation of people who live in the Amazon or of the rainforests of the Amazon because blank. So I hope that has helped you come up with your short constructed response or your ideas a little bit to help you along your way. If you have any questions, please, please, please make sure that you reach out to your teachers or anyone else. I do have a way for my kids to get in contact with me. I know that there's other teachers out there that are also putting stuff on their Google Classrooms, or they're finding different ways to make sure that they stay available to you. So please, please, please make sure that you reach out to them and let them know if you're still confused about some information, or that they, if they can help in any way. So that is it for my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to try and see what kind of responses I get from this video. I've been posting them mostly on one website, but I think I'm going to try and figure out this YouTube thing. So, but that's it. I just ramble on at the end of these things, so you don't have to listen to the rest of it. But yeah, that's it. My name is Mrs. Mizuno, and I am so happy to share these videos with you guys. Just let me know.